Today's guest is a group president of energy company Worley, Mr. Vinayak Pai. Let's see how Worley ended up in The Hague. So you've had a very impressive career up until now, and you've been in all sorts of places all over the world, and you're basically managing the entire world from the Netherlands. So how does living here in The Hague help you do that?
Yeah, I was living in Houston in 2019, and we operate out of 49 countries globally. I was looking for a place which is central in terms of time zone, because just to manage New Zealand at one end and then Vancouver at the other, the time zones become very difficult. Also travel, at that point in time in 2019, I was traveling a lot, visiting our locations and our customers. So I was looking for something better to help me with both time zones and the travel, ease of travel. And we had at that point in time, strong operations here in The Hague. I wanted to be at a place where we have a strong operations. So The Hague ticked all the boxes, and I really think it was a great decision for me.
What would be the biggest difference from living in Houston or any other place in the world and now coming here? How does it make your life better?
I mean, we are outdoor type of people, so we enjoy The Hague because it has so many avenues, and people are generally out, running, biking, and we just love that culture. And also, you have a great set of neighbors. They are very welcoming and friendly. So we just settled in without realizing that, how our life has improved, and then reflecting back, definitely the quality of life has improved being here.
That's interesting. It's interesting because if I talk to my friends, a lot of them, when you think of hiking or being outside, a lot of them think the US is the place to be, right? Especially for people who live here. But you're saying, as a foreigner coming here, this is actually an amazing place to be outside, to be close to nature, and
yeah, I mean, just this place. There's so much water around, the canals, and some of the forests, and there's so much to do. There is a variety. There is a large variety of what things can be done outdoors here.
Is there like a particular thing that you're doing most that where you enjoy this? So you're a biker or you're
Yeah, I do quite a lot of stuff. I do yoga, I do biking, I do running, I play golf. So there are avenues for everything here.
Awesome.
Just great.
And maybe touch a little bit more upon Worley. So can you tell me a little bit more about the company?
Worley is a global project delivery and asset management company in the energy, chemicals, and services space. So we build assets, we design, and we help our customers build their assets in the energy, chemicals, and resources space, and then maintain them, manage their assets. We operate, as I said, in 49 countries with 48,000 employees. So it's truly a global company.
Yeah.
And that helps us because our customers are global in nature, and they want the same organization to work with, irrespective of where their assets are. So that's been a good win-win for us and our customers. 2 years ago, as we set up our future transformation, we identified energy transition as a key driver for our future. And it was very timely, because since then, as we started building up our capabilities and our talent in that space, the world has changed in terms of digital enablement and energy transition. And we are uniquely positioned to work with our customers to create a more sustainable world. In fact, our vision statement is delivering a more sustainable world. So
That's
it
awesome.
just matches well with what's happening today.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you feel like Europe is the right place to do that?
It is, absolutely. I mean, I must say that the whole energy transition, Europe has been leading it.
There is finally something that Europe is leading again on.
Absolutely, because I think there is a culture within Europe of caring for the future and sustainability, and it's just the whole culture. It's the people, it's the government, it's also the industry, which is very forward thinking, and that has helped. I mean, out of our customers, some of our European customers have been the first to state goals for decarbonizing and energy transition commitments. So, that's the reason Europe is leading, and Netherlands is one of the leaders within Europe. So, it's the right place for us to be in with our talent to be able to harness this potential for us and our customers. So, it's absolutely a great opportunity.
And you mentioned talent already briefly. So talent obviously is like for every country, for every company that is a very important driver. But you are really a talent company, right? So you're
absolutely. I mean, people are our greatest assets, because our project delivery, our asset management, it happens through our people, and talent is very important to us. We have people who have been working with us for a long time. At the same time, we have youngsters coming out of schools and universities through our graduate program. And we have been making a lot of progress in building a diverse work culture and really focusing on our talent, because we are in a knowledge industry, and people are critical for us, and hence the talent.
So obviously my next question will be, so what do you think of the talent in the Netherlands, and what do they do good, and what should we improve on?
No, I think the talent is great. I mean, it has been one of our hubs for a long time. It's now one of our biggest hubs for energy transition, and we are seeing a lot of talent coming also from universities. Though I must say that we need to keep working on improving the relevance of the STEM program into the universities and promoting it more, and designing courses to more match the talent required for the industry of tomorrow. So, it's a whole ecosystem we are working with through our experienced staff as well as our youngsters, and that creates a great ecosystem. The culture is very strong in terms of commitment. People are very committed to deliver on their targets, which is very important in our business, like any other business. Yeah. We see that people are very serious about learning, about innovation, about new ways of doing. For example, the Agile, Scrum, these are some of the concepts which have been kick-started here in the Netherlands, and then we are using it globally. So it's also, I must say, a lot of innovations come out of here in terms of our processes and how we will do our future business.
So do you believe The Hague has enough talent to provide you with everything you need?
It does. Actually, one of the reasons why we shifted to The Hague in 2019 was to have access to more talent and a wider pool, and of course, proximity to our customers. But from the talent perspective, we have been able to harness whatever talent is available here. In the past, when we were a conventional energy company, more on the oil and gas, we used to struggle to attract newcomers into this industry. But now with our energy transition, we're seeing a lot of interest from the upcoming talent to get involved, work with us, and learn the skills for the future. So it's pretty impressive what we have in terms of talent here.
So what I hear you say between the lines is that when it was about oil and gas, it's difficult, but now that there's this real purpose of trying to change the world, you find all sorts of people to actually help you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially the youngsters. I mean, they're super excited with this opportunity and where we are going as a company.
And after living for 2 years here in the Netherlands, can you point to a particular reason? Why do you think it is that especially these very driven young people, that they live here and that they want to work at your company?
Even before this, I've been visiting Netherlands quite often in the past, and the youngsters, the amount of interest they used to show and they continue to show in building a sustainable future is much more than I've seen anywhere in the world. Because whenever we used to have town halls, and when I used to talk about anything related to energy transition, and we had little to talk about even then, the youngsters would be all over it, super energized. So I think it's a culture. I think the youth here is very forward looking.
Interesting, interesting. And talking a little bit more about that energy transition, and you touched upon this briefly already, but can you give a couple of specific examples of how Worley is actually contributing to this?
So as I said, as part of our transformation, we identified energy transition 2 years ago as a significant focus area for us. Our purpose reflects it, our values reflect it, and we have also made commitments long term in line with the Paris Agreement and the UN Sustainable Goals. So those commitments are very dear to us, and from that perspective, there's no going back. I mean, this is where the future is, and this is where we are committed to. What we bring is a lot of talent and innovation. Because it might be a different industry, but a lot of unit operations are similar. For example, the talent required on a green hydrogen, I mean 80-90% of it comes from our existing talent pool, because they have the skills and the unit operating experience of working here. We might have to bring 5 or 10% of specific expertise. So definitely we bring that level of talent, our processes, our commitment for future, and again, on the other side, there is a lot of opportunity in Europe, because in Europe and specifically in Netherlands, we see a lot of commitment from the government and the cities to drive this energy transition forward in terms of regulatory support, in terms of funding in some cases, subsidies, and that is actually fueled this growth much faster than anywhere in the world. When I say Europe is leading, it's because they have been very proactive, and again I relate it back to the Netherlands, that the policies are some of the best ones in Europe are also in the Netherlands. So may it be things like biofuels, green hydrogen, carbon capture, any of this, you see there are some regulatory and policy support coming from the government, and then it translates into action in terms of investments, and then it relates to the talent we have. So it's a self funding sort of cycle, which is now really growing.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem where everything comes together, and where the government plays the right role in between restrictive legislation and actually allowing people to grow. You mentioned hydrogen already and biofuels, and are there more? Can you give a couple of specific projects that you've been working on here in the Netherlands?
See, some of the ports in Netherlands, they have already triggered projects for collecting carbon dioxide from all the CO2 emitters from the ports, and then taking it to the aquifers and putting it into the sea. So the carbon capture, those projects, there are definitely, I don't know whether they are public knowledge, but I'm sure they are. But
I didn't know.
Yeah, there's one in the port of Rotterdam and one in the port of Amsterdam.
So you're actually capturing CO2 there, and then you're distributing that back to the ocean and releasing it. And in that way, it doesn't come
into the atmosphere.
Awesome.
So those are there, and then there are offshore wind farms which are there. They are used as an energy source for creating hydrogen, which is the fuel of the future. So you use water, you use the electrolyzers, and generate green hydrogen, what is called green hydrogen. Conventionally, hydrogen has a lot of potential as a fuel for the future. So relating on all this, I say that the Netherlands is uniquely positioned because globally the currency has changed from oil and gas. So you would see that countries which had oil and gas would have higher growth opportunities in terms of industries. But the new currency is water, land, electricity, and water is a critical part of the future, and Netherlands, there's water everywhere, right? So I think again, from a regulatory support, what is available, it just points in the right direction. Sorry.
So, but that means that basically all the water we have here is the replacement for the gas that we had up in the northern part. We're going to do that. We have even more of the new energy. And that is what you are really helping transform into energy. so we have this very driven culture. We have these people that are really involved in are very passionate about what they do. But do you also experience that is that a different culture in terms of who your neighbors are, do you see different people here than you see in the US? Because we also think that the US is always the driven country, right?
No, we were actually surprised at the reception we had when we started living here. So on day one, we had our neighbors come in and put cards through our door, introducing themselves and their families and their dog, and and send some flowers and wanted to have a conversation with us. So it was we didn't expect that actually, and it was highly welcome.
And that's different from the US.
That's different from the US because honestly, when we lived there, we didn't know our neighbors as well as we do here, because they show interest in where we are from and what we have been doing in the past, and we have more conversations, coffee together, and it's quite welcoming. And the same with the people in our office. They're very curious about how we are doing personally and what help we need, and so yeah, I think it's been a great welcome for us, and we loved every bit of it.
And how do you like I think a lot of foreigners always they need to adjust a little bit to our Dutch directness. How do you experience that?
I've been used to it. As I said, I used to travel, and I know culturally how they are, and I actually like that, because they are direct. They say what they mean. There's no beating around the bush, and you get to a solution much faster, rather than going all over and having different discussions. So it's very productive in a way. I look at it that way, and as long as you understand that, that has been the least of my issues. Actually, getting to know the language has been a little bit of struggle. I'm still not fluent in Dutch, or I know enough words to get by, but not at the speed at which you guys talk.
Maybe people start thinking that they're watching the Lego movie where everything is awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about the things that didn't work out so well? So both on the personal and on the business level.
Well, I think some of the initial struggles were really related to the language. The websites are not very, some of them now have English translations, but I used to rely on someone else to translate stuff for me. Most of the stuff which comes from the government is mostly in Dutch, and so and when you speak to someone, the default language is Dutch. So it felt like a struggle initially, sometimes ease still, but nothing you can't get by with. Once people understand what you want, they'll quickly shift to English and solve your problem. The other problem I had was when the pandemic started. My wife just had traveled back to India, and it took 6 months for us to get her back here.
Oh, wow.
And to jump through a lot of hoops to be actually able to do that, and that was something which for me, I was alone. I had not physically seen a person or talked to a person except in the supermarket for 6 months, and it becomes a little difficult sometimes. So those were some of the spots in which might have been a little difficult, but yeah, overall the experience has been positive.
All right, and in a business perspective, so if you compare the US, for example, with the Netherlands, are there also things that you feel like the US is doing better, or that's different from?
Yeah, I think in terms of what I've seen in other countries, people here are a little more reserved in terms of opening out and having a conversation. It takes more time to get to know a senior executive from a customer company, for example, which is very easy in the US. There is a culture of going out for dinner and sharing about what's happening together. It's not that easy in the Netherlands sometimes.
No. So we are. It's harder to get to know us, but then when you know us,
it's when you get to know them, it's really opens out the doors. But initially, there is a bit of distance to start getting that conversation going, which is much easier in the US.
So how do you mitigate that?
again, by perseverance, we just try to see what value we can bring to the conversation, and when there are specific topics of interest, people will listen to you, and then take it from there and build a relationship.
Yeah,
and then it works well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's mostly it's kind of a culture that we just need some time to warm up, maybe compared. But once we warmed up, then we are very open.
Yeah,
I think we share way more than Americans once we
Once
really.
you know it.
But you need to get there. I think another interesting topic that we want to touch upon today was the question on the new location of your office. So you've been across the Netherlands and now you're in The Hague. So why did you make that decision?
Yeah, I mean, we have been in Netherlands for long. Started off in Amsterdam, and then we were in Leiden. But in 2019, we were looking at consolidating into a larger premises. And when we looked at the options, I mean, we look any decision we take, we put two lenses on it: our customers and our people. They are critical for us. So from both perspective, from the availability of the talent perspective, and when we talk to our people, they felt they would be more welcoming to shifting to The Hague, and also the access to a larger talent pool was a critical one. And then proximity to our customers, they were very interested in being closer to us. Companies like Shell or some of our global customers, it just made sense to be here. And absolutely, I think it was a step in the right direction. Reflecting back on what we did, I think it's over 3 years, and since then the energy transition has taken shape. So talent wise, customer wise, we are very happy where we are. In fact, now The Hague office is one of our largest global hubs, specifically for energy transition. So it provides support to a lot of our global locations for energy transition projects because of the experience and expertise they have developed working with our customers in Europe.
What would be the profile of the people working for you?
We have all types of roles which is defined in an industry, but 80% of our resources are technical engineering based resources. So basically engineers with a mindset for innovation, culturally, those who are willing to look forward in terms of developing their careers in a more sustainable way, and we are finding them in plenty, honestly. So it's good, actually.
But then you must be doing something right, because engineers are very hard to find these days, right? So what makes Worley such a special place that people want to work there?
It's the war on talent is on now.
Yeah.
There was a bit of struggle in the last 12 months when there was not much of work because of the COVID challenges and the oil prices, etc. We did face a lull at that point in time.
Yeah.
But now there is definitely there's growth we are seeing, and we are now, again, because of our significant investments in energy transition, we are getting more interest from people than we were in the past, as I said.
And are there also like specific things you're doing at your company to that are different from other companies that make this kind of talent feel welcome? Like why would they work at Worley?
So one, the opportunities for development, the opportunity for growth, and second, we have also by choice instituted a lot of programs to be a very diverse company. So we are able to attract a diverse talent from wherever it's not just in the Netherlands. Globally, we have made significant progress on our diversity and inclusion culture, so that we make everyone feel welcome and bring their authentic selves to the office. And the culture which we provide is, from that perspective, is also a strong attraction for people, because they hear from people who are working with us about these things, and then find this a good place to work.
That's very interesting. And if you look at diversity and the Netherlands, and how do you feel like we are doing on that topic? And
I must say there's work to be done, for sure. It is it's not as embedded as one would like into the day-to-day thinking. But again, we have seen people very open to learning and being open to thinking differently. When we have, for example, we have networks, we have say women's network, we have other global networks, and there are a lot of interest from our employees to be part of those networks and see what is diversity about, and how it can help with the overall business, how it can help them think differently. So there is a lot of interest. It's not very natural, but when those topics are introduced, we see a lot of interest.
Interesting. And can you, do you have a diversity initiatives that you can be really specific on, that you say this is how we do something better than maybe than people do here in the Netherlands, and that this is what we could improve upon?
I mean, our overall focus on identifying the various diverse cultures. So, as I said, we also have a network for our women, and those are not network. For example, the women's network is not only women; it also has men and women who together discuss, what we can do to improve gender diversity in a workplace. So, we just don't bundle and classify one set of people together and let them solve a problem. We get together an ecosystem to work together and come out with how we can do better. So, putting people in the front of this has helped us, because then the ideas come from the people themselves, and that promotes a culture which is very open within the organization. People can speak out.
Interesting. So the Dutch are really famous for their collaborative spirit, and basically we work together always in everything. Sometimes good, sometimes a little bit bad. How do you feel what's your collaboration on a local level here in The Hague? Do you have ideas? Who do you work with? How does it work for you?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely see that collaboration happening through customers, other partners, and education institutions. So we talk regularly to the City of Hague, the various innovation councils. We are very active in some of the domestic think tanks. Though I must say that there is still an area for improvement in terms of getting more interested parties together, because right now those collaborations are more one-to-one. I think there is an opportunity to broaden that into getting multiple partners together to solve a certain problem, and so that's probably an area for improvement. But also from the technical education point of view, those collaborations are important to develop the talent for the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we see a lot of that opportunities for collaboration here.
So now you live here, you've seen the Netherlands a bit. What would be your number one advice for people moving to The Hague from outside of the Netherlands?
I think to understand the culture is important. As we said, people can be direct, and sometimes if you are not used to it, you might think differently. So understanding the local culture is important. So I must say, visit even before you move. Go around, visit, get to know the local culture, and that helps set yourself up well. I must also say, be curious about some of the things which are important. If you are able to get into what's important for how do the local people think, what's important for them, it becomes much easier to seep into the culture and start living very seamlessly. So I must say, be curious. Don't get put off when you get a response which is not which you are not used to. Just ask a question, and then people will open out and build that. So have more patience working through whatever little problems you see, and eventually you will find that it's a great place to work and live. And anyway, from the beginning, it's a great place to live and work.
And do you have like an anecdote maybe from what would be like the biggest mistake you've made while moving here? So something that was so unexpected, something that went so different than.
interesting. I actually struggle to put anything which is in that category, except maybe it would have been better if I had invested time in learning Dutch before I came here, because that sometimes helps here quite a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps. Yet we speak our English is pretty good, right?
The language skills. More than 90% of the people are fluent in English. I mean, they can just be talking in your language and very friendly. So it's not a problem. It's just to peel that layer on top, and then understand each other. And I've not actually had any instances where which has stood out as something which I was shocked by. I mean, everything has gone
cool.
Well.
What are your favorite spots that what are the places you've visited multiple times? What do you like here in the Netherlands, and especially in this area?
Yeah, going to the beach. The Scheveningen beach is a great area. So I bike down there, walk on the beach. When I want to meet someone, that's a favorite spot. So I'll ask people to come there. I bike there, park the bike and just take a stroll on the beach. It's a beautiful place to do in The Hague. Downtown Hague is also a great place with a lot of shops, and we love walking on that street and popping into shops and looking at the various options which are there. That's great. And just some of the green spaces which are there, some of the forests. Just go and keep walking inside there, and it's so peaceful. So those are some of the favorite things to do. And of course, I don't know of any golf club right in the center of the city, but I do play golf, and there are many options available here.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a little bit on the outside, but that's great places to be. Thank you very much for taking the time. I really loved our conversation. I'm really excited about if I would want to live in a place, then apparently this is the place to be. So thank you very much for pointing it out, and hopefully we see a lot of the new energy transitions being powered by you and building this into an even better conversation. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure chatting about. You don't think of what happened in the last 2 years when you live. Only when you have chats like this, things come into memory as to how the journey has been, and it's been pretty impressive for me.
Nice.
Right decision.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.